My deskmate is a reborn woman, and I can hear her inner thoughts. In my previous life, I gave everything for Zach, but just because I took the love letter he wrote to the school beauty, it caused me and my unborn child to die. In this life, I will no longer stop the top student from degenerating. I will just watch the two of them be together and see how they rot and stink. Hello? What kind of rubbish is being thrown at me? Am I a very cheap person? 01 I have had the ability to read minds since I was young. To suppress this ability, I always wear Buddhist beads on my hand. Only when there is physical contact will I uncontrollably receive the other person's inner thoughts. For this reason, I constantly emphasize that I don't like being touched. I am often said to be aloof at school. When Crystal came over, I was completely unprepared and was caught by her just like that. Trista, aren't you weak in mathematics? Come to my house tonight and I'll tutor you. Her voice was very loud and it startled me. Our relationship has never been good. She thinks I'm arrogant and pretentious. I also think she's stubborn and difficult to communicate with. Since the start of school, we haven't said more than a few words in total. The teacher hinted several times for us to help each other, but we tacitly ignored it. Now that she suddenly pounced on me, it made me physically repelled even more. But just as I was about to push her hand away, I heard her laughter. Great. Great. I was actually reborn. This time, I must make that scumbag and bitch pay the price. That scumbag Zach, doesn't he like Trista? Then I'll give him a chance and invite them both to my house. Then I'll find an excuse to go out. When a man and a woman are alone in a room. Then I'll take the opportunity to jump out. With a handle, won't I be able to control them as I wish? What's so good about Trista? Flirting around. She has no merits except for her face. Men are really shallow. I'll just wait and see how the two of them rot and stink when they are together. I was so shocked by this series of inner thoughts that I couldn't say a word, and even my hand movements stopped. There was undisguised malice in Crystal's eyes, which gave me a sudden chill. But in my mind, her inner thoughts continued. So annoying. Why hasn't she expressed her attitude yet? What's so great about Trista? Being the school beauty is amazing? Just relying on her beauty to attract men. Going back a few hundred years, she would just be a fate of an actress. Let me think. When the time comes, after I take her photo, should I post it on the school network or simply post it on foreign websites for people all over the world to admire? In her previous life, even after she got married and still made Zach mesmerized. Why not just scratch this face? After the shock, I quickly calmed down instead and looked at Crystal silently. I still can't figure out why Crystal hates me so much. She is a transfer student. When she first came, she didn't like to talk and always kept her head down. Her school uniform was dirty. A few days later, her deskmate publicly said that she wanted to change seats, saying that there was a strange smell on Crystal. Looking at her hands tightly grasping the book, I found the teacher after class and became her new deskmate. The girls in the class don't like her, and they won't like me either. Unlike other girls, I can't go to the bathroom hand in hand or accept any physical contact. Although I'm not excluded like Crystal, I still don't have any friends. At that time, I thought that it was quite appropriate for freaks to be deskmates with freaks. Who knows, when I politely told Crystal that I didn't like physical contact, although she didn't say anything, she glared at me with an extremely angry look. From then on, there was a 38th parallel on the desk, and we never talked to each other. And the thing that confuses me the most is, who is Zach? How did this person get involved with me? Why is the rubbish she doesn't want being thrown at me? Am I a very cheap person? 02 After school, Crystal was abnormal and followed me step by step, even though I had clearly stated my attitude impatiently. I won't go to your house, and I don't have the habit of inviting others to my house either. Crystal, you are very impolite. I clearly saw a trace of resentment flash in her eyes. After a moment, tears welled up again. Why? Trista, do you really dislike me so much? I don't have any malicious intentions. No one in school plays with me. At that time, when you were my deskmate, I thought, this Crystal is very different from before. In the past, she was full of negative energy but had her own pride. When had she ever used such a weak way? As soon as I thought about it, I understood. This must be the way of life that Crystal learned before her rebirth. She wants to use this method to nail me to the pillar of moral shame and force me to agree to her request. After all, high school girls have thin skins and are generally outdone by these reborn women. It's a pity that she met me. Since I was young, I have heard too many inner thoughts, kind ones and malicious ones. Those diverse contents have allowed me to come into contact with people's hearts in advance and made me more like a cold adult. So I refused her without hesitation. But it was you who drew the 38th parallel first and distanced yourself from me first. It's not impossible for you to want to go to my house to play. But you have to ask about my time in advance, and I also need to tell my family. It's impossible for you to just say you want to go and then go, right? I don't understand. Why do you cry just because I just refused your suggestion to go to my house to play today? We are all seniors in high school. It's time to study hard. You know what you want to do. I really don't have time to play with you. Crystal was choked for a moment. Because of her actions just now, many classmates who haven't left yet have been attracted. Hearing our conversation, someone laughed first, making Crystal's face turn even redder. I don't even need to listen to her inner thoughts to guess what she's thinking. Without saying anything more, I turn around and leave, until a boy blocks my way. He is covered in sweat, his legs are trembling nervously, but what he says is really not pleasant to hear. Don't be angry, Trista. Crystal didn't mean it on purpose. I apologize to you on her behalf. She just wants to be friends with you. After saying these 2 sentences, it seems that he has exhausted all his courage. The boy silently lowers his head and doesn't even notice that Crystal has come over and is standing behind him. I instantly understand his identity. Zach, the scumbag who was mentioned in Crystal's inner thoughts and who had harmed her in her previous life. So her unusual behavior is just to stall for time and let Zach come over and confess? Sure enough, in the next moment, Crystal has already taken out a love letter and stuffed it into the boy's hand. Zach, aren't you going to confess to Trista? Of course, only doing it yourself is sincere. Our school beauty is very approachable. Come on, go for it. Really? I'm approachable? How come I don't know? I look at this scumbag who is extremely heinous in Crystal's inner thoughts and frown in confusion. He looks very ordinary. If I have to use one word to describe him, it's 2 words, boy. It's not disdain or simply looking down on him. It's just that he is so hesitant when confessing. Even when his thoughts are exposed by Crystal, he still holds the love letter and doesn't know what to do. His appearance is mediocre. He is just a very common high school boy. He is unkempt. His school uniform is not very clean. Only one side of the collar is standing up. Regarding studies? I remember now. Among the top 3 in the grade that the homeroom teacher always mentions, there seems to be one with this name. But for me, I don't have any special admiration for top students. In terms of personality, it's an even bigger flaw. Leaving aside the fact that he may have let Crystal down in his previous life. Without knowing the cause and effect, he just rushes out and blocks me to apologize on Crystal's behalf. From any aspect, he is not someone that I, Trista, am interested in. So why, in Crystal's inner thoughts, are we tied together? 03 Probably because Zach is really disappointing and I haven't made a move for a long time. Crystal can't wait any longer. She takes the love letter and stuffs it into my hand. Trista, Zach is a top student. There are many girls in the school who like him. If you miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. Hurry up and agree. At the moment our hands touch, I hear her inner thoughts again. Good, this time Zach confesses successfully. I have changed my fate from my previous life. I will never meddle in other people's business again. It's really a bargain for Trista. Zach has never confessed to me. In my previous life, I did laundry, cooked, and gave birth to a child for him. In the end, all I got was a word suitable. This time, I want them to establish their relationship in public. I want to see how Trista can still hook up with Oscar to start a company and promote her, and how she can marry into a wealthy family. Oscar is my childhood friend. That guy is a good-for-nothing rich second generation. Of course, I don't study much either. The two of us are synonymous with being dissolute in the circle. We regard each other as real brothers and can't even imagine the scene of sleeping together. It's to the extent that just thinking about it makes me shiver. Crystal said I hooked up with Oscar? In this regard, her inner thoughts don't seem very reliable. My gaze returns to Zach again. Because of Crystal's words, his face turns even redder and he is faintly expecting something. It's really strange. What is he expecting? Do you mean that just because he is a top student, I have to start a relationship with a stranger without knowing anything about him? Or do you mean that because you, Crystal, think he is good and you like him, so you think that since he condescends to confess to me, I have no reason to refuse? Crystal is stunned by my questions and subconsciously turns to look at Zach, denying repeatedly. No, we are just friends. I don't like Zach. Don't talk nonsense. Am I talking nonsense? Then why did you force him to confess in public and imply in every word that I must accept? Crystal, are we that familiar? A series of interrogations make Crystal lose her composure. She quickly steps back a few steps and keeps a distance from Zach. She seems to be very afraid of being associated with Zach and afraid of repeating the same mistakes. Almost immediately, she turns around and runs away, leaving Zach alone in the center of public opinion. Ha ha ha, it seems that the top student is not so good? The school beauty didn't catch up, and the little fangirl also ran away. Crystal always went to bring breakfast to the top student before. I thought they were a couple. Why did she run away now? The top student has said long ago that he doesn't like Crystal. But, is it a bit unkind for the school beauty to refuse like this? Then do you mean that as long as someone with good grades confesses, the school beauty must agree? Come on, Zach is third in the grade. There are still the first and second in the grade. Does she have to agree to everyone? I look at Zach, smile unhurriedly, and summarize softly. You may be a very excellent person, but I think the basis of a relationship is understanding and trust. So I'm sorry, I can't accept your confession. I hope you won't use this way next time. As you said, Crystal has pestered me all day long, crying and making a fuss. People who don't know might think I bullied her. This will make me very distressed. Isn't it just being pretentious? As if no one else can do it. 04 After that incident, Crystal became a lot more well-behaved. However, Zach seemed to be extremely excited and would frequently come to our class. The two of them must have had some private communication again. He began to pursue me formally and would bring some snacks and drinks every time he appeared. Trista, I've seriously considered what you said last time. If we want to have a long-term relationship, we really need to get to know each other seriously first. Crystal told me that you little girls all like spicy strips and jelly. I don't know which ones you like, so I bought all the brands in the convenience store. Have a taste. As he spoke, he handed me the plastic bag in his hand. Wailong, Bang Bang Chicken, and Zizzalong. He really did buy all the snacks in the small store. There was a burst of commotion in the class, and the discipline committee member couldn't suppress it at all. These people may not necessarily want me to accept Zach. It's just that life in Senior 3 is too boring and needs a little gossip as a spice. I put down the pen in my hand and looked up at him. I don't eat snacks. Trista, just accept my gift with confidence. I won't think you're materialistic. Zach seemed to have a malfunction in his cerebellum. He couldn't understand what I said at all. Instead, with a touched expression, he was about to stuff the snacks into my arms. But halfway through the action, another hand intercepted it. It was Oscar, my unreliable childhood friend. At this moment, he grabbed Zach's arm, took all the snacks, and stuffed them into Crystal's arms. Come on, dude. She said she doesn't eat snacks. Whoever you bought them for, just give them to that person. Trista is a dance student. She has to control her weight since childhood. She gets scolded if she gains even 1 pound. Don't harm people here. Zach was stunned. His eyes looking at Oscar immediately became guarded, as if he determined he was a potential rival in love. Oscar wasn't annoyed either. He sat on my desk casually and asked me in public. I say, Trista. After all, our families are old acquaintances. Why don't you be my deskmate instead? I think your new deskmate has a bit too many tricks. Who would encourage others to fall in love in senior 3? It's already this year. Work hard and talk about it in college. Crystal was holding the snacks and tried her best to avoid looking at Zach. Now suddenly being publicly criticized by Oscar, her face flushed suddenly. Don't talk nonsense. Trista's grades are so poor. How could the two of them go to the same university? As if she remembered something, she stuffed the snacks into my arms again. Being with Zach can just let him tutor you. Sheen, I'm doing this for your own good. Why do you always misunderstand me? She pouted, looking extremely aggrieved. But just now, I clearly heard her inner thoughts. A rich second generation like Oscar should like stubborn and independent little white flowers, right? If I can win over Oscar, let's see how arrogant Trista can be. Maybe I'll be the one who debuts? I really want to say, sister, you're thinking too much. Oscar likes charming beauties. What he hates the most in his life are little white flowers who cry all the time. But Zach is different. Seeing Crystal cry, he seemed a little touched. Immediately, he patted the other person on the shoulder. Thank you, good brother. I appreciate your kindness. Don't worry about school matters. I can skip doing 2 major questions and control my score to be with Trista. After saying that, he looked at me again with a seemingly affectionate expression. His expression was extremely greasy no matter how you looked at it. However, Oscar directly blocked him and rolled his eyes unceremoniously. Tutoring? Skipping 2 major questions? Trista has already been guaranteed admission. Does she still need all this? She has won the national championship in national folk dance competitions and has long been specially recruited by art colleges. If you want to be in the same school as her, why don't you start doing waist bends and splits from now on? Although you're a bit older, but since the power of love is so great, it's nothing to sacrifice a bit, right? After he had finished taunting, he knocked twice lightly on my desk with his hand behind his back, hinting that I could come out and play the good guy. I poked my head out and smiled at the two with ugly expressions. Sorry, I'm fully preparing for the next competition and have no plans for love. This young lady is beautiful on her own. Those 2 lovebirds can scram. 05 Oscar and I have had a kind of tacit understanding since we were young. Whenever one of us encounters trouble, we charge ahead for the other and then let the person involved come out to calm things down. This way, we neither suffer nor lose a good reputation. This is a skill I learned from adults. After all, we are still young, so it can be said to work every time. Later, when my parents discovered my true nature, they sneered and mocked each other. Humph, your daughter is really carved out of the same mold as you. Selfish. Aren't you her mother? I think she's just like you. She likes to deceive people and play tricks. Only Oscar always firmly praised his rainbow farts. Sister Xian, you are the best Sister Xian in the world. They are just blind. In my opinion, no one in the world is more gentlemanly than you. At that time, I was speechless and kicked him and told him that I am a woman. But Oscar always had a bunch of fallacies. What's wrong with being a woman? Can't a woman be a gentleman? In my heart, you are the synonym for gentleman. You have superpowers and money power. As long as you want, who in this world can play against you? But you never listen to other people's inner thoughts casually and even think about restraining yourself. Who can do this? If it were me, I would have eavesdropped on my dad's safe password on the first day. Don't you believe me? Come and touch me. Touch here and listen for yourself. He always has the ability to make people moved for less than 3 seconds. Just like now, Oscar is following me home happily. As soon as he enters the door, he goes straight to the living room to play games. Sister Xian, you are really my own sister. It's still comfortable to stay here. Don't worry about food. I'll order takeout by myself when I'm hungry. I can't stand seeing him so happy. I lift my foot and kick his butt. Get back to your own home. Oscar jumped up in an instant, hugged my leg fiercely and wailed loudly. Don't do this, Sister Xian. As soon as I get home, I'm forced to take classes. The child is going to suffocate. The Oscar family has some background. Oscar has been fully scheduled with various courses since he was young, and he gets A's in all of them. However, the older he gets, the more rebellious he becomes. He starts to openly contradict his parents and often runs away from home and doesn't come back. Looking at his furry head, I suddenly remembered Crystal's inner thoughts and asked him, "Oscar, if you were to run an entertainment company, what would you do?" "Of course, I would make Sister Xian famous and then use the money you earn to chase girls." Okay. I knew it would be like this. Hearing this, I was finally relieved. Fortunately, it was all Crystal's one-sided statement. Oscar and I still have a pure relationship of mistress and little follower. I ignored him and went upstairs directly to the dance studio to practice. My phone was placed aside and kept making noises, but I didn't look at any of the messages. In the past at school, both Oscar and I were relatively low-key. We didn't show off our family background much, and we never told anyone about my learning dance. Now it seems that they have discovered some big news. Everyone who has WeChat comes to ask me. Those who don't have WeChat also mention me in various groups. It's extremely annoying. But I have a bit of a masochistic tendency. I never turn my phone to silent mode. Or maybe I'm training myself to maintain a focused mind in the noise. After the practice, I saw Oscar standing at the door. He raised his phone and looked innocent. Good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? The bad news is that you're famous again. Zach couldn't catch up with you and wants to commit suicide, even attracting the fire department. The good news is that you didn't look at your phone. After making a fuss for a long time and having no way out, he came down by himself now. There's also SOSO news. Zach's parents know about this and are clamoring for the school to expel you. I heard that even reporters have been attracted now. For you, it's half good and half bad. For dancers, fame is both important and unimportant. Becoming famous before a competition may attract public attention to the entire competition, but it may also make the judges' requirements more stringent. However, thanks to mind reading, I have known the path I want since I was young. With solid skills, I'm not afraid of others' attention. I picked up the towel beside me and wiped off my sweat. I didn't answer his question immediately. Just because I didn't agree to be in a relationship with him, he wants to jump off a building? This kind of behavior of kidnapping the other party from a moral high ground seems like Crystal's style. She seems to be convinced that only by completely passing Zach to me can she escape the tragic life of her previous life. But clearly, she still has many choices. Why does she have to drag others down if she wants to change her own life? I didn't even know Zach originally. Why should I take over her mess? 06 The topic of a top student jumping off a building for love was soon on the hot search. Zach himself didn't show up. His parents and Crystal were in front of the camera, wiping away tears. My son is usually very well behaved. He studies until 2 o'clock in the morning every day and never makes us worry. This girl doesn't know what seductive means. She used to make my son so infatuated that he even stole money to buy her snacks. What time is senior year in high school? The school must severely punish this matter. For a girl who doesn't like studying and only knows how to dress up all day, she must be expelled. On the internet, many parents whose children are in high school are echoing, wishing they could shout, "Demoness, don't mess with my son's Dow heart." Why don't they know how to discipline their own sons? Crystal is even more ridiculous. She specially put on a makeup suitable for being on camera and silently shed tears in front of the camera. Whenever the camera pans to her, she starts to sob quietly. It's all my fault. Zach and I are good friends, but I couldn't persuade him. Trista is the school beauty of our school. There are usually many boys around her. It's normal that she doesn't look up to Zach. It's all my fault. I didn't expect her to be that kind of girl. As soon as these words came out, it directly stirred up a hornet's nest among parents, and they scolded me even more happily. Zach's parents and Crystal beautifully gained a wave of traffic. The former opened a social media account and crazily taught their own educational experiences. The latter, although it's a mixed bag and is scolded as a green tea by girls, has gained a lot of male fans and now doesn't even come to school. Even I am a little puzzled. Is she so sure that relying on the memories of her previous life can she get into college? Missing classes in senior year is really not a wise move. Among several people, only Zach is not doing well. Although he has the title of prospective Tsinghua University student in the media, he has become silent at school. In the past, he had a genius persona and said that he never reviewed or read books when he got home. Now he is slapped in the face by his parents himself and is also laughed at by many people for being extreme and unable to handle it. Overnight, all his friends left him. Even when he goes to the cafeteria, he is always alone and no one is willing to eat at the same table with him. If there was still some sympathy for him from some classmates when he jumped off the building, after his parents opened a social media account, it turned into fear. After all, who knows if he will jump off a building again next moment? The best way is to reduce contact. Zach is full of pride. After less than a week, he couldn't take it anymore and started skipping classes with Crystal. According to Oscar, the two are entangled. In the past, Crystal was Zach's admirer. Now Zach is her follower and accompanies her everywhere to find places to live stream. I once clicked in out of curiosity. Crystal has completely changed her appearance. She is wearing an off-the-shoulder dress with her hair dyed yellow and permed into wavy curls. She thanks everyone for their gifts in front of the camera. Someone asked about her age. She gave a wry smile. Yes, brother. I have been relatively precocious since I was young. Maybe it's because children from poor families become independent early. In the past, because I didn't have money to buy clothes, I was laughed at school. No, I didn't mean the school beauty. Don't talk nonsense. I don't want to cause trouble. Now I am very satisfied with my life. The rewards from various brothers allow me to afford food and buy new clothes. Thank you, big brother on the top of the list, for the rocket. Now I can buy 2 new pieces of clothing again. That night, the freshly crowned big brother on the top of the list, Oscar, received a private message from her. It was a selfie of 2 new pieces of clothing, and she didn't forget to attach a naughty and lovely emoji. Oscar let out a hiss. This is really difficult to comment on. I am also a bit puzzled. Could it be that this is the kind of life Crystal wants to live after being reborn? In fact, it can be seen that this industry should be quite profitable. But in the past, Crystal gave me the impression that she cared a lot about her self-esteem. That is, I thought that as a reborn person, she would choose to invest in future trends. I even planned to follow and invest. Who knew that Crystal would do something unexpected and start live streaming? Perhaps this is also a trend? I thought for a while and bought some stocks of live streaming companies. As for the rest, what others do has nothing to do with me. I shrugged and spoke softly. This is the path she chose herself. Maybe heaven wants us to be different people. My cultural course level can only be said to be average. Before the dance gold medal was exposed, many people secretly looked down on me and said that I only had a good-looking face. Their thoughts may not be much different from Crystal's. In my first year of high school, when a boy in the front row turned around to talk to me and I didn't respond, the discipline committee member came up to me and rolled her eyes. Come on, some people shouldn't be so shameless. If you don't study yourself, you still lead others not to study. Why are you looking at me? Could it be that he took the initiative? Do you know how many points he got in the midterm exam? Student malice is obvious. At school, they look down on those with poor grades. After entering society, they look down on those without money. Then they have children and repeat the cycle, educating their own children the same way. In their worldview, it seems that there is only one way in the world, which is studying. Once you don't do well in studying, your whole life is ruined. Perhaps it is like this. Most of the time, grades are very important for students. Regarding this matter alone, perhaps they are right. After all, achievements in other fields can also be considered grades. But is being snobbish right? I can only try my best to focus on myself and not judge others. 07 later, when I saw Crystal again, she came to handle the withdrawal procedures. Seeing that I was not affected much, she was full of disbelief. She bought an address book and asked everyone in the class to sign it, leave blessings and mobile phone numbers. When she handed it to me, I heard her thoughts again. So annoying. Why is Trista still sitting in the classroom properly? Those fans are so useless. They can't even handle cyberbullying. They still say they want to vent my anger. That's it? But in the future, many internet celebrities enter the entertainment industry. By the time Trista debuts, I will be way ahead of her. Once Oscar writes down his number, I will put it away and keep it. When he starts a company, I will fall in love with him and get resources. At that time, let's see how she can compete with me. When she is at her most prosperous moment, I will expose that she bullied me in high school and let her fall to the bottom. I bullied her? No, my time is so precious. I don't even have enough time for dancing practice every day. How could I have time to bully her? I couldn't help frowning, and the notebook in my hand suddenly fell to the ground. Crystal's eyes turned red again. She quickly picked up the notebook and left. Sorry, Sheen. I shouldn't have bothered you. I know you hate me. It's okay if you don't want to write for me. Oscar, can you write one for me? She asked cautiously. If it were any other boy, he might really have written it. But Oscar has been different since childhood. He leaned back and completely gave up. No, my sister Xin has extremely accurate sixth sense. What she doesn't write must not be a good thing. Crystal was stunned and then handed the notebook to me again. Then, Sheen. Oh, I won't write. In her distorted expression, I also pursed my lips. Just now I wanted to write, but you didn't let me. Now you want me to write, but I won't. After all, as you said yourself, I hate you. Then I will really hate you. Otherwise, listening to you say this all the time, at school and on the internet, it seems that I am a bit. Crystal really cried this time. She threw the notebook on the ground and turned around and ran away. So, if Oscar doesn't write, the whole notebook is meaningless, right? I sighed and continued to lower my head and do my homework. Even for art students, cultural courses must also meet the standards. There was a chirping sound from the back row. I heard someone talking to Oscar. Don't worry, brother Oscar. The clarification video has been posted online. Hundreds of people in the school testified in the same frame. Zach's parents are at the peak of traffic now. They are doomed. I didn't expect Crystal to be so bold as to dare to join forces with Zach to kidnap me. On the eve of the competition, I asked for leave from the teacher and came out. I was pulled into a van by Zach covering my mouth. He looked at me, his eyes full of hostility. Trista, what are you so arrogant about? Why do you look down on me? What's so great about being a dance champion? You ruined me, do you know? Because of you, the whole school is ostracizing me. And you even found someone to report on my parents. Now the whole network is scolding them for being unqualified. Sucking the blood of students' futures. All the remarks about you on the internet have been reversed. Even Crystal's account has been blocked. Are you trying to drive us to death? You alone, how could you achieve this? At such a young age, you cling to a rich sponsor. Don't you have any sense of shame? I was a bit speechless and couldn't help rolling my eyes at him. Sucking blood from others and then blaming others for breaking your rice bowl? No matter how good-tempered I am, I don't have the habit of raising someone else's son. The account being blocked is a certainty. Oscar never intended to let Crystal earn his money. From the very beginning, it was intentional. As the saying goes, to destroy someone, one must first drive them mad. He threw money at Crystal, making her think she was popular. When she was at her most arrogant, he pulled her down. Makabaka. His family is originally a leader in the new media industry. With just one word, they can block her account. Crystal had been live streaming for more than half a month, and before she could even withdraw the money, it became completely impossible to withdraw. I'm not the kind to be trampled on. Immediately, I stomped hard on Zach's foot. He let out a shriek and released his grip. I took out my anti-wolf device and hit him with a hammer. Are you crazy? Can't I be rich because of my own family? You can call me ugly, but you can't say I'm poor. My biggest dream in this life is to walk my own path and then be richer than my parents on this path. All that talk about walking the path they paved for me is nonsense. I believe that when Crystal saw me in her previous life, I must have put in more effort than I am now. She only saw my beauty but ignored my continuous practice every day for my dream. That's why she thinks that as long as she falls in love with Oscar, she will definitely be better than me. Even without seeing her so-called previous life, I can be sure that it must be me who lifts Oscar up, not Oscar who lifts me up. Not long after the car drove out, Zach was caught. He's not a tough guy either. Immediately, he betrayed Crystal. Two plainclothes policemen got on the van and went to the destination together, a dilapidated unfinished building. Crystal originally planned to push me down from here and make it look like I committed suicide due to cyberbullying. But now, she was crying and laughing. Standing at the edge, one of her feet had already stepped out. Why? Trista, can you tell me why? I may not be as beautiful as you, but I'm smarter and more virtuous than you. Does this world only look at faces? I was silent for a moment and looked at the policeman beside me who was tense all over. He slowly blinked at me. I instantly understood and turned to look at Crystal to divert her attention. Sister, what's the difference between what you said and a man saying that this world only looks at money? Don't blame the road if you yourself are not capable. Your self-awareness is not very accurate. In fact, you don't even have inner beauty. The policeman was speechless. He pulled my shoulder and said in a low voice, I meant for you to comfort her and coax her down. It's good enough that I didn't sit down and eat a bag of melon seeds. And you want me to coax her? Crystal seemed to be deeply stimulated by my words. Not only did she pull back her foot, but she also rushed over fiercely as if she wanted to fight me. On the way, she was subdued by the quick-witted policeman. She was completely pressed to the ground but still stubbornly raised her head and shouted hoarsely, What do you know? How can you understand the hardships of us ordinary people? Do you know how much I've done for that bastard? I got married to him right after graduating from college. I gave up my career to do laundry and cook for him so that he could devote himself fully to his career. Later, I got pregnant, but then in the room, he was doing that kind of thing while looking at your photo. You two have no contact anymore, but you still keep tempting him. Obviously, you have nothing but a pretty face. Why can you debut as a star and marry into a wealthy family? Isn't it just because of your face? I can get plastic surgery. Why can't you even spare me this and block my account? Damn, just listening to it makes me feel unlucky. I squatted down and looked at her at eye level. But isn't it him who let you down? If you did laundry, cooked, and gave birth to a child for me, even if you were just a nanny, I would at least pay you a salary. But, Crystal, didn't you see someone more beautiful than me in your previous life? What did I do wrong to be targeted and retaliated against by you? You not only didn't harm him, but instead thought of ways to help him fulfill his long-cherished wish and be with me, his first love goddess. That he is attracted to my face is my misfortune. Even if I die, there will be another unlucky person. Why did you ruin yourself like this for a guy who only looks at faces? Crystal was stunned for a moment, and then burst into loud sobs. The charge of attempted murder was established, and she will carry a criminal record for life. The next day, I heard the news from the police station. Crystal had a fierce argument with Zach at the police station. Zach slapped her twice and blamed her for getting him involved. Crystal was extremely angry. In public, she took the flower pot in the police station and smashed it hard on Zach's head. By the time the police reacted, she had already taken out a small knife and stabbed Zach's heart fiercely. Zach didn't make it. Crystal also completely lost her mind. She kept laughing and repeating that she wanted to do it again. But I think she won't have a chance. I put down my phone and continued doing my homework. Only by working hard for my own future is something that belongs to me. Everything else, let it go with the wind.